What's
You've
up?
been working the room this morning.
Yeah. See, I'm one of those. I like to go around and walk and talk to people.
And that's why you're here, to tell us how we can do that.
Yes.
So before we get started, tell us about your business, what
Okay.
you do, how you ended up here today, and then we can jump in.
Awesome. Well, a little bit of my story, I guess. Well, I started 10 years ago in sales and marketing in the car industry. And as you know, maybe a little bit in that particular field, it's all about performance. You don't get paid unless you sell. Long story short, I guess I would say maybe like 6-7 years later, 2017, I decided to learn a little more about digital marketing to capture leads online. And that led me to, hey, create videos online on social media, which in 2020 that we all experienced, right? Everyone was like, hey, we need social media. We need to be online a little more. Before that, everyone was like, oh, well, I don't really care for a website. I don't need a website. I don't need to be online. But once COVID hit, that entire thing shifted. Which that's what led me to build and start offering video services towards people. And that led me to, okay, how can I help people promote their business but also capture some leads? Awesome. And this is exactly, the most important part of like your business, telling that story and recording it. So long story short, 2020 helped a bunch of businesses. And then next thing you know, we're merging with other companies like Fusion Lead Marketing, providing that entire thing together, not just the video portion of things, just because that's very important, yes. However, it still needs a system behind it. And that's when we led to putting these companies together.
Awesome. So everybody who came in after you noticed that you were working the room.
Okay.
You were shaking hands, you were talking to people. And obviously, we're in the digital age, we're in the digital era where everything now is online. Every business is a tech business now, and if you want to connect with, your customers, new customers, you have to go digital. But tell us how you were doing that stuff this morning. Like, how do you walk into a room and just make connections? How do you talk about what you do, how you do it, why you do it, without sounding like a car salesperson? Like, what's the magic?
Well, I think it's not very that hard, and I guess it might come a little hard to other people, but if it comes hard to you, this is a simple formula you can do. Go walk up to somebody and say, hello, my name is, and then say, what's yours? It's literally where it starts. Now, I'll give you this one question that I asked a couple people. I didn't ask it today with Ali, right? But I do like to ask this question, what do you like to do for fun? Instead of just saying, hey, always like, what do you do? How many sales did you make? It's a question that is valid. I mean, we're here to make business and learn more about your business, but I believe in a deeper connection. I learned that he likes to fish, He likes to go fishing. I've never done fishing, He also, dabbled a little bit in golfing. He lives in Rockville, he grew up in Rockville since he was 10, right? There you go. You see, that you ask this one simple question, you'll remember more about that person, and that person will remember more about you. I'm not good with names. Like, you can tell me your name 5 times, and I'll be like, gone, right? But if I ask you your story, and then you tell me, I came from Libya, and I did this, and then that, and my kids, and man, it's just like you start to remember that, oh, this person's from here because of this, and you kind of tie those two things together.
That leads me into my next question, because what you're talking about is really important. Yes, you're trying to talk about your business, but you also want to humanize the experience, right? And how do you do that when you're not familiar with the community or the room that you're walking into? So if I look, I know a lot of people in this space right now, and many people in this space are from, immigrant community, the African immigrant community, right? And people want to diversify their clientele. They want to diversify their network. And what you're telling me is go in, humanize the experience, talk about the person first, right? How do you do that when you're not familiar with the community?
There's this thing that says whoever asks questions controls the room. So are you asking questions? Like, what type of questions are you asking? And if you don't have questions, use ChatGPT. Like, go in there and give it as much of your own personality. Be like, hey, I do this. I'm an introvert. I don't really like to talk much. This is what I do. But what are some questions that I can ask some other people if you're that type of person who can't come up with questions, okay? But I mean, I think, leveraging that software is really cool. But yeah, ask more questions. Like, ask questions that, one, you can relate to. I move a lot in the African American community, right? I mean, my wife. So, and as a Latino man, I have to come in and it's like, yo, what's up, bro? Like, right? And I don't know, I guess for me, I grew up here in Hyattsville. So I think it may come a little easier for me. But when I walk into the room, and I guess it's a whole different community, the questions are the most important part. One of them, like, what do you like to do for fun? But aside from that, it's like, all right, what means to you? There's this one question I asked recently. I was at MIC with, it was a CEO group. And in this particular group, it wasn't just any CEOs. These CEOs were 50 million CEOs. These were CEOs that have over 100 employees. One of the questions I asked was, what was your biggest accomplishment this year? And he said, oh, wow, I've never been asked that question. People like to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So make them talk about themselves. You'll learn more about them, and then you'll know what they need easier without even having to ask the question, what do you need? What did you accomplish this year? Oh, well, we accomplished 100K, We went to 1 million. Man, we're looking to go to 3 million this year. Oh, and how do you plan to do that? Well, we were thinking of boosting, maybe running some ads. Oh, great. What so happens that I do the same for you? Maybe I can be the solution for you. There you go. You got to what you're looking for without having to ask that question.
I love that. That's a great connection. I didn't think about it that way. Usually I go in, I'm like, hi, I'm Christy. This is what I do. So I think I'll do that a little bit more now. So I'll ask you one last question and we'll open it up for Q&A. So you've come into this amazing space. You've worked the room. Tell us your tip. Like, what do you do to maintain those connections, and how do you even strengthen them, right? So people talk about not being able to talk to people and you're shy and you're an introvert, but how do you leave the space? You have everybody's business cards. What do you do after that?
That's a great question. The one thing that a lot of people don't do is start to follow you online. One of the strategies that I do, we all know, send an email afterwards. Great. If you send a text, nice to meet you, that's it. It dies there. And then we don't send an email after that. That's the majority of what people do. My strategy is this. I grab your business card. I got to meet you. I might send you a text. I might send you an email. And then I start following you on all platforms. I find you. I'm going to find you on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, I'm going to find you on Facebook. I'm going to find you somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm going to find you, and that's the point. Like, I may not have to connect with you and send you an email every week, but as long as maybe I can show up in your feed every week, then I'm already kind of in your mind at some point. A great example was, when I walked in here, he said, hey, Frank. And then a couple of people said, hey, Frank. Oh, hey, what's your name,
Yeah.
And that's happened in other occasions too. But that's because in this case, they've seen my flyer, you've been putting, all that stuff, so that, they see me. Well, that's how social media works. You start seeing that person online. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I've been happy for people to have success online and I don't even know them.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, wow, man, you've grown. And you're like in the comment section, I'm proud of you. And you don't even know the guy, So that's the point, you know what I mean? Like, grab that business card, make that connection, send that email, send that text, but also start connecting with them online. And if they posted something about their kids, wow, I have a family, I have kids too. I don't have kids, so I might say, hey, I'm looking to have some kids in the future, or give me some tips,
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're married, I'm like, hey, if you're married, I'm like, hey, what can you give me for, a marriage? You've been married for 30 years.
Yeah.
They always hit you with the happy wife, happy life, right? So, I guess that's my answer for that.
Great. So before I open it up, I just want to remind you there's a QR code on the back screen. Scan it to get to connect with Frank. That goes directly to his LinkedIn page. And as he says, send that message. Follow him, and he's really good at connecting because we are connected on social media as well. So I will open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions for Frank?
I was about to say dead over here.
So we'll go there first, and then we'll come here.
What type of marketing specialty do you have?
Excellent. Why focus on social media? That's the area that I'm strongest in. And to give you a little bit of a story, this is the reason why we founded Fusion Lead Marketing. Fusion, it's a fusion between two different companies. Vinicio here, he's the CEO and founder of Hispanicpreneurs. Like I just mentioned, my network is very much in the American community. His network is very much in the Latino community. So this year I decided to connect more with the Latino community, not just on social media, but actually in person. So meeting him, we saw that I was missing something that I needed from him, and vice versa. So this is where we decided to birth Fusion. Fusion of two different stories, two different brands coming together to serve not just one community, but all communities. I was only serving the American, he was serving mostly the Latino, and that's what we're bringing that together. So the area that I specialize in is social media, help you tell your story, find your message, and I have 3 core values that I think any business owner should have, which is 1, be easy to find, okay, be easy to contact, and then lastly, be easy to make a sale. So, hey, I found you on LinkedIn, cool. It's easy to book a message, cool. Like book a call, great. And then once you have that call, how can I make this easy to make that person, that customer, sign that check or make that a transaction? So those are my 3 cores. Hopefully I answer your question.
And then you had a question here, and then we'll go here.
Lorenzo here. As a digital media consultant, what is one of the most difficult challenges you had, and how did you overcome it?
That's a great one. I'm a perfectionist. I don't like mediocre stuff. I really don't. But being a perfectionist has also been my biggest kryptonite because everything needs to be perfect. The way I overcame that was literally, in my case for social media, was posting it not perfect. If the lighting wasn't good, post it. If my hair didn't look good, post it. If I had a little beam showing my tooth, post it. You honestly start to kind of like reprogram your mind that you don't need to be perfect in front of people. I started doing this thing, started vlogging a little more, right? And the reason why I didn't do it before was because we always have this tendency, I would say humans have a tendency to always seem like we got it all together. And that's not always true. A lot of us here have gotten somewhere to their careers, but you're still figuring out something, I'm 28. This is my first time being 28. And then you're probably in your 30s. It might be your first time in your 30s. You're still figuring some stuff out. So that's how I overcome that, posting things that are, pushing that it doesn't be perfect. Fine, post it, this doesn't have to look this way. Post it, just keep it moving.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's just kind of worked for me.
And then question there, and then last question here.
So, going back to the question that Lucy asked before, when you look at the room, the majority of people here, we are either blended or migrated from other nations. So, what would you say has been the biggest challenge, and how do you overcome that working with people like in the Hispanic culture, African or Asian, for example? Because we tend to consume information, but also disseminate information differently.
I believe, I don't know if I should say this, right? But I think you know what I'm going to say, right? When I walked in the room, there's many different rooms that you're going to walk into, right? And there's many of us, like as business owners, we want to walk into rooms with higher budgets, right? Different caliber of people. Yes, you want to network with your own caliber of people, but then there's also that caliber of people. And then sometimes when you walk in those rooms, you have certain ethnicities that you're just not really, you're walking in the room, you're like, oh, I don't see none of my color in here. So it's like, you're saying they're like, okay, cool. So for a lot of people, that is intimidating. And I think, I'm gonna be honest, it's been intimidating for me when I walked into a room, I'm like, but I guess to answer your question is, you have to get comfortable in that uncomfortable, and then start asking those questions that I was mentioning before to get to know more of what that language is. As a digital marketer, I think that's helped me also, even in sales, is to know how to ask questions to understand their language, if that makes sense. I hope I'm answering your question. But what I mean by that is, when you're, for example, as a marketer, if you're gonna target a lawyer, you may say prospects. But if you're gonna target a restaurant, you may not say prospects, you may say customers. You know, so it's just the same thing in a way, but it's just kind of learning that different language. And the only way you get that is by actually walking in the room, going to a different city, going to a different area, not just staying in Laurel. If you're in Laurel, you're networking in Laurel, you're gonna get a bunch of Laurel people. But if you go to Bethesda, you're gonna get a bunch of $1 million home people, you know?
Yeah.
If you go to DC, Georgetown, that's a different caliber of people. They dress different, they talk different. They may not say a lot of PG stuff like I do, you know, every once in a while. So, but you have to go in there. Have you ever been to the Trump Hotel?
Yes.
Okay, I only heard two. I've been there, I walked in there and I was like, oh, this is not what I'm used to, right? But you better get used to it if you want to kind of, you know, network that caliber of people. Dress nice, feel good, walk in there, get a drink, and maybe tip the bartender $50. The reason I say that, everything is tactical. You know, you walk in there, be tactical. It's your first time being there, maybe not talk to anyone. Just observe. You'll know who's the assistant, you'll know who's the owner, you know who's actually working, you know who's the boss in there. And then you'll be able to know, okay, I'm gonna talk to this person first, then I'm gonna talk to that person, and then I'm gonna go here. Oh, that's the marketing person? That's who I need to talk to. And then after the marketing, because I planted the seed there, then I'm gonna talk to the owner, because he's the decision maker. But the marketer is gonna talk his ear. You get what I'm saying? So that's the way I think, you know, when I'm walking in the room. Here, when I walked in here, it was kind of like, it wasn't filled up yet, you know, so I kind of just went up to whoever was in my way.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, I hope I'm answering your question, you know, but that's my advice when you walk into a place, you know, get to know the area, get to know the language, and at the end of the day, just kind of be yourself.
Last question.
Yeah, thank you so much. I completely agree about the perfectionism. I have my brand on Instagram. I love social media as well. And I used to sit on so much content until it was perfect, so I agree. My question is around what strategies have you seen that have worked in terms of digital media marketing for businesses? So in terms of like personal branding and social media, I think I understand that really well, but now I'm trying to grow my business, and there's certain tactics that influencers use for social media, but it's different from like how you grow your business. So if you could just share like what you think are some of like key takeaways that you see to help like grow and scale a business, like social media presence, that'd be helpful.
Great. Uno. One. Uno. It's all good, it's all good. Can y'all hear me? That works? I think I can hear myself a little better like that. Oh, uno, dos, there you go. Yeah, my fault. There you go. There you go. All right. That works. All right. So, don't overcomplicate yourself. There's two softwares that really come to mind. One would be Honeybook, which would be a client flow system. Videos and social media, is a tool for you to get more attention and awareness and bring that traffic in, but then how you're going to capture that lead. And that's when your customers and you start growing in your business. Whether you're selling a product, whether you're selling a service, right? You need to capture a lead. What does that look like? Capturing a lead is actually getting a phone number, an email, some type of data. You're building that data, and then not just capturing a lead, making a sell. Those are two separate things. So when you're on social media, you're posting your videos, you're doing your things, then how are you going to capture this lead once people are looking at this one particular video? An example, I'm making a video. Hello guys, what's up? My name is Frank. I do digital marketing consulting, If you need websites, you need this, make sure you connect with me, All right, you got 1,000 views. It's like saying that to 1,000 people right here. But then it just dies there. You got the awareness, that was good, but then how you're going to capture that online? There's a software called ManyChat, for example, right? I'm pretty sure you've heard of that. That's how making it simple. ManyChat, they plug in a word and then it sends them a direct link for you to capture a lead. And then once they do that, even ManyChat has the lead in there already. That's one. That's how you actually capture. The next part is like when they send a lead, how they're actually going to purchase from you. You already got their information, all right, what's next? So the next part could be something like Stand Store, right? Stand Store is where you have your product, you have your piece in there, and they actually come in there and press click and they get what they're paying for. So this is why, don't complicate it over too much, because I've been one of those who's like, well, they gotta call me, they gotta do this, and it's, you know what, how about we can just make this as simple as possible? One thing I was actually mentioning to him, and I hope I'm not taking too long, but I think these two things are very important. One, having systems in place. What does that look like? There are 3 companies that I really much admire, and one of them is Howard Schultz, which is the previous owner of Starbucks, right? But when you look at Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, and McDonald's, they're the most systemized companies out here. Like nothing goes, like 45 seconds, Starbucks has to be out. You're gonna get to the window and you're gonna get your cup of coffee. If not, you might wait another 10 seconds. But if you go to Wendy's or you go to Burger King, you're gonna wait for a minute. You might wait 5 minutes just to get your meal. But that's not how it looks like when you go to Chick-fil-A. You go to Chick-fil-A, you're in and out. So this is where those systems come in place and helps you build your company. One thing is your brand and actually like promoting yourself, which it seems like you're doing really well. But the next part is what systems do you have in place? And don't overthink those systems. Make it as simple as possible that works for you and then works for your customer. And hopefully I answered your question.